Welcome to All Grown Up Now, Tales of a Checkered Past. I'm Kenneth D. King, podcasting from my studio near Union Square in New York City. This podcast is an evolution of the tale, All Grown Up Now, A Friendship in 3 Acts. This is Season 2, and it's called Tales of a Checkered Past. It's a collection of short stories from my salad days on up to the present. In each podcast, another self-contained story will be presented. Enjoy. For episode 85, I have a little tale that I call Our Hero Becomes a Hip-Hop Star. A few years back, I inadvertently became a hip-hop star of sorts. Now, my fame wasn't wide, but for that brief moment of time, I had quite a lot of street cred with my students at the Fashion Institute of Technology. This is how it came about. One of my Park Avenue gals, who I'll call Macy, had a son who desperately wanted to be a hip-hop star. I'll call him Davy G. Davy G wrote rap lyrics, which he performed in some of the clubs on the Lower East Side. The lyrics of his works were variations of tough, self-made guys pulling themselves up, working hard for the money, overcoming rough times. He could affect the swagger of one of those hard knocks guys, just like the real thing. So, to invest in his career, Macy was sure he would be a big star. She decided to finance a music video for him. Since she had a business coordinating events, she knew all sorts of people who could help make this happen. "Hey, Kenneth," she said on the phone one day in February. "I've rented a gentleman's club in the Bronx." "Whatever for?" I asked. "I'm producing Davy G's rap video. He's going to be a big star, and then I can hang out with all his new friends." "Really?" I said. "Yes. Part of the video will take place in a strip club, and the other part we'll film in Mimi's apartment." Now, Mimi was Davy G's grandma. The apartment was in a building on Central Park West's Gold Coast. Her upstairs neighbor at the time was Giorgio Armani. "What are you doing in the apartment?" I asked. "Oh, we're draping it with lots of tarps, making it look like we're making meth or cocaine, but instead we'll be showing models packaging bundles of CDs of Davy G's album. You know, like kilos of coke." "How creative," I replied. "Oh yeah, and I hired a real pole dancer for the part in the strip club. Did you know that large hips are a thing? In her ad, the young lady had a photo of the tape measure showing that she had a 42-inch hip. In my day, we'd never, ever show something like that." "Yeah, times have changed," I observed. "I'm told by my students at FIT that the big backyard is now a thing." "So, this is where you come in," she said. "I need extras. Unpaid, of course. I'm financing this thing, but I need to economize wherever I can. What are you doing the last Saturday this month? I need you to be an extra in the strip club." "Okay," I said, "but how will I get there?" "I'll send a car, silly," she replied. "But Macy, there's one problem." "What's that?" "Will there be naked breasts there?" "Why would that matter?" she laughed. "It matters because I'm a Kinsey gay. A Kinsey 6, totally gay, gold star gay, only kiss my mother on the forehead gay. If I see naked breasts, I could either turn into a pillar of salt or burst into flame. It's unpredictable. It could be a fire hazard or a safety hazard. I'll never know." "No, silly," Macy exclaimed. "She's a pole dancer. They remain clothed as a rule." "Well, in that case, count me in," I said. My appointment with hip-hop stardom had been made. With me, it's all about the wardrobe. The question was, what to wear? Who did I want to be? What character did I want to bring to that strip club in the Bronx? I pondered. Rifling through my wardrobe, I pulled out several options and consulted with Macy a couple of times on the phone before I arrived at the finished outfit. And what an outfit it was. I started with my vintage turquoise mohair sharkskin suit from the 60s with the skinny lapels and the narrow trousers with the little skinny cuffs. Underneath, I had my black Terry Mugler dress shirt, my skinny vintage necktie with the gold collar bar, pointy black lace-ups, and an armload of silver bracelets. I topped this all off with my cocoa brown broadtail coat and mushroom brown fedora. In short, spiffy. As it turned out, Macy didn't send a car to my place.
What?
I was supposed to meet the car at 125th and Lex in Harlem, striding through the subway station, because striding was the way to go with that outfit. I received several favorable comments from the other riders, especially for the hat and coat. The car pulled up in front of an honest-to-God gentleman's club in the Bronx. Now, I had never been to one. This was going to be an anthropological experience for me. Macy greeted me when I walked in and remarked on the outfit. "Perfect," she exclaimed. "Look at all these other people. Black. All of them wearing black. What are they thinking?" "Did you tell them to wear something else?" I innocently asked. "Didn't they call and consult with you?" At that moment, this nerdy guy ran up to us. Macy introduced him. He was the director. His last name was familiar. Macy whispered in my ear that his dad was a famous film director. Oh yeah, that one. Nerdy looked at me, pointed, and exclaimed excitedly, You're going to be the pimp. Come with me." And my appointment with hip-hop stardom had arrived. I was taken down to the dressing room, where I assumed the ladies who normally worked there got ready. One of the makeup people pushed me into a chair, slapped on some foundation and powder, and filled in my eyebrows with a pencil. The final prop was an eye patch, a golden eye patch, on my right eye. Nerdy surveyed the finished result. Now, you're a pimp," he explained as he led me to the set. "Your date's name is Pinky. You'll sit at the end of the bar. You're looking the dancer over with an eye to buying her for your stable. The madam who is currently handling her is sitting to your right." We got up to my bar stool, and I was introduced to Pinky, a young lady dressed in fuchsia pink with lots of feathers. Her real name was Cheryl. The madam I had met before. It was Davy G's grandma, Mimi, dressed in a gold sequin top, black velvet palazzo pants, and lots of fake eyelashes. We all settled in. The prop guy came over and handed me a stack of fake money. Quite convincing, but fake hundreds nevertheless. I had never seen that before, so I swiped one. He had taped a penny to the end of each bill. "When you throw them at the performer, hold the other end so the penny makes them fly. Otherwise, they don't go very far," he said. Never having thrown money at strippers before, it was good to know. The prop guy also gave me a fake drink and fake cigarettes with the cigarette holder. When you blew into the cigarette holder, the cigarette made smoke. So, I was being called upon to do 3 things I'd never done before in my life: smoke, drink, and throw money at a lady stripper. I understood. I needed to act. Nerdy came out with his bullhorn and gave a rundown of what we needed to do in the establishing shot, film term. The smoke machines would get going, the music would play on the loudspeaker, and the young lady would come out and give her performance. My character would leer, throw money, drink, smoke, and generally fraternize with my date Pinky and the madam, which was a bit of a challenge. Now remember, I had a golden eye patch on my right eye. As Mimi was sitting to my right, I couldn't see her unless I turned all the way around. It took a couple of takes, before I knew just how far I could turn, so it looked like I was interacting with her while I was not actually seeing her. The pole dancer was lovely, and I imagined she was very good at what she did, but as I said, I'm a Kinsey 6, so I couldn't really judge whether she was deeply, profoundly talented or not. The camera guys, however, were fascinated. During a break, they were standing at the end of the ramp next to me, watching her like a dog watches a steak. I think they were panting, actually. "Excuse me," I said to one of them. "Yeah," he said, not looking at me. Excuse me, she has a run in her stocking. Is that going to be a problem?" He turned to me, looking puzzled. "Stocking?" I don't think they noticed. During another break, I was chatting with several young men who were comparing other video jobs they had done. One of them looked at me and asked, "So, what other things have you been in?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "What other acting gigs have you done?" These were real actors. Oh, I'm not an actor," I said. "I'm a couture designer. I just know Davy G's mom." This caused a bit of a kerfuffle. They all went storming over to Macy, complaining that a non-actor, me, got the featured role, because that's what it seemed to be. "Well, look at you," Macy exclaimed. "You're all wearing black. He's the only one who wore color. If you wanted to stand out, you should have worn some color." So my stardom was a product of my extensive wardrobe. These kinds of gigs sound far more glamorous than they are in reality. It was fun of a sort, but in video, there's a lot of stop and start, do it over, hurry up and wait. I had to repeat my business, drinking, smoking, and throwing the money several times to get it exactly right. As it was in the finished video, the drinking and smoking were cut. Just the scenes with Pinky and the Madam, me scowling lasciviously, and throwing money were kept in. As an aside, the next week, I was telling a customer in California of my adventure. You know, smoking, drinking, throwing money at lady strippers. And this caused her to muse about just how I, a Gold Star gay, could do that. "It's called acting," I replied. "Gay men have been doing it for decades." The smoke machine worked overtime with all the repeat takes, and at the end of the day, I felt like I had smoked 3 packs of cigarettes. Afterwards, I shared a car back downtown, exhausted. While I was in the car, I reflected on what I had just witnessed. During the many takes, I listened to the lyrics of this song. It was the story of a hardscrabble guy working to bring himself up, to get that money quick, bucking up, making something of himself from nothing. Which was really not the case. Davy G was a white guy who grew up in Rhinebeck. He went to a fancy private school. His grandma lived on Central Park West. His mother financed the video. A guy from a prosperous background was trying to sell himself as somehow someone who brought himself up from a disadvantaged, hardscrabble background. Get that money quick. It was so strange. The video was released to little fanfare. Walking down the hall at FIT one day, I overheard the music coming from a classroom. I went in to investigate, and there was a group of kids huddled around a computer watching the video. "Professor, we're watching your video," one of them shouted. "Well, kids, it's not really my video," I protested. "I was just an extra." The end of this story is predictable. Davy G doesn't go by that name anymore and has a regular job somewhere in New York. Mom bought him an apartment in Upper Manhattan, and the video has disappeared from YouTube. However, I have a copy. And this was my appointment with hip-hop stardom. Thanks for listening. You can get the audiobook All Grown Up Now on iTunes, Audible, and Amazon, or from my website, allgrownupnow.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. If you have any questions, you can reach me through the website allgrownupnow.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Kenneth D. King, on Facebook at Kenneth D. King Design, or on my main website, kennethdking.com.